So today I want to discuss something almost nobody is talking about. Everyone's attention is glued to the war between America and Iran. People are asking who is winning. Will America bomb Iran into submission? Will Iran close the Strait of Hormuz and send the global economy into chaos? Will ground troops be sent in? All these are important questions, and we've discussed them before. But today I want to ask a different question. While America and Iran are bleeding each other, who is actually winning? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Professor Jiang, China isn't even in this war. How can it be winning a war it is not fighting? And that is exactly the point. The most brilliant strategic move in geopolitics is often not to fight at all. The smartest move is to let your enemies destroy each other while you quietly build your power. That is exactly what China is doing right now. Let me explain carefully. First, we need to understand what China gains if America wins this war, then what it gains if Iran wins, and finally, the historical pattern that this situation mirrors. This is not new. History is full of examples where a rising power watches two great forces exhaust themselves and then quietly steps in to claim the prize. To understand this, we first need to examine how China thinks about strategy, because it is very different from America's approach. America's strategy, which I call the hammer strategy, is simple. If there's a problem, hit it hard and hit it fast with maximum force. This is why America always reaches for bombs first. This is why its military-industrial complex is so powerful. Americans believe every problem can be solved with more force. China's approach is almost the opposite. It comes from Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War over 2,500 years ago. The core lesson is simple but profound. The greatest victory is to win without fighting. Let me say that again. The greatest victory is to win without fighting. You don't waste soldiers, money, or energy on direct confrontation. You position yourself wisely, you let the situation unfold, and when the moment is right, you act, but by then, the outcome is already largely decided. This is Chinese strategic thinking, and it is being applied with precision in the Iran conflict. Let's start with the first scenario. America wins the war. Imagine America successfully bombs Iran, topples the government, installs a friendly regime, controls Iranian oil, and dominates the Strait of Hormuz. At first glance, this seems like a loss for China. But in reality, China does not lose. Why? Because America will have spent trillions of dollars to achieve this victory. For context, the Iraq War cost America around $2 trillion, and it did not even succeed. The Iran War against a larger and better prepared adversary will cost far more. America's national debt is already over $36 trillion. Every bomb dropped is a bomb paid for with borrowed money. And who holds that debt? China holds over $1 trillion in American Treasury bonds. Japan holds a similar amount. The more America borrows, the more it prints dollars, and the more its financial system weakens. Every dollar spent on war benefits China because it strengthens China's relative financial position without firing a single shot. The military-industrial complex illustrates this clearly. The F-35 fighter jet cost $400 million each and took 26 years to develop. The Gerald Ford aircraft carrier cost $13 billion and had to retreat from the Persian Gulf after just 3 weeks. The Patriot missile defense system cost billions, yet cheap Iranian drones bypass it easily. All this money enriches private contractors, drains the American treasury, and creates financial exhaustion while China watches patiently. Scenario one, America wins, China does not fight, China does not spend, and China emerges stronger relative to a financially weaker America. Now let's consider scenario two. Iran wins, or more precisely, America fails to achieve its objectives and retreats. This outcome is even better for China. If America retreats from the Middle East, the entire architecture of American global power begins to crumble. At the center of this architecture is the petrodollar system, established in 1,973 inches, an agreement between America and Saudi Arabia. Oil must be sold in dollars, and America will protect Saudi Arabia. This system ensures global demand for the dollar, allowing America to print money and fund massive deficits without collapsing its currency. If Iran demonstrates control over the Strait of Hormuz, which carries 20% of the world's oil, including 60% of China's oil imports, then America's promise to maintain the flow of oil is undermined, weakening the petrodollar system. This is crucial. China has been building an alternative for years, the petro-yuan system. China has negotiated with oil-producing countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and Iran to sell oil in yuan instead of dollars. Every day, the Strait of Hormuz remains under Iranian control, erodes confidence in the petrodollar, accelerating the global shift toward Chinese trade and finance. In this scenario, Iran's survival directly benefits China economically, geopolitically, and strategically. China's investments in Iran extend beyond oil. The Belt and Road Initiative, the largest infrastructure project in human history, depends heavily on Iran. Roads, railways, ports, pipelines, all connecting China to Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia, require Iran as a geographic pivot. In 2021, China signed a 5-year comprehensive strategic partnership with Iran, promising $400 billion in investment in exchange for discounted, reliable access to Iranian oil. While America bombs Iran to weaken it, China benefits because the country becomes more embedded in China's economic system than ever before. Chinese ships continue to buy Iranian oil despite sanctions. Iran earns more revenue, and China secures critical energy at discounted rates. America's efforts to destroy Iran paradoxically strengthen China. Beyond finance and infrastructure, this war is reshaping global perceptions of trust and reliability. Countries around the world are watching America bomb civilian infrastructure and impose sanctions. Developing nations are learning that American protection is conditional and often unreliable. This fear drives countries toward China, which promises investment without interference, respect for sovereignty, and no military coercion. While America appears as a lashing, unpredictable empire, China presents a steady, patient, and economically beneficial alternative. The historical precedent is clear. History rarely rewards the countries that fight the biggest battles. In the Peloponnesian War, Athens and Sparta exhausted themselves for decades, and the true beneficiary was Macedon, which quietly strengthened itself and then rose under Philip and Alexander the Great. Similarly, in World War I, Britain and Germany devastated each other, and America, entering late, emerged as the dominant global power. China is playing the same strategy today. America fights, Iran resists, and China quietly builds its future. China's domestic planning reinforces this advantage. While America improvises, China is executing its 15th five-year plan, consulting experts, academics, and strategists nationwide to guide development in technology, infrastructure, energy, and education. America has no comparable plan. Decisions are made hastily, reactive, and often without strategic vision. While America wastes resources and credibility in the Middle East, China is acquiring resources, securing partnerships, and creating long-term advantages across Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Central Asia. China also gains energy security. As the world's largest oil importer, cheap Iranian oil reduces manufacturing costs, increases global competitiveness, and strengthens its industrial base. Meanwhile, American businesses face rising energy costs and supply chain disruptions. China is turning restrictions on technology imports, such as semiconductor limitations, into opportunities investing heavily in domestic capacity while attracting global talent, increasingly wary of America's instability. The shift of intellectual capital, economic influence, and geopolitical trust is quietly favoring China. We are witnessing a transition from a unipolar world dominated by America to a multipolar world with several major powers. In this transition, China is positioning itself as the leading alternative, not through military confrontation, but by offering stability, infrastructure, and long-term strategic planning. The Iran war exposes America's weaknesses: financial overreach, strategic improvisation, declining credibility, and an inability to protect allies reliably. Every day, this continues. China's relative global position strengthens. So when we ask who wins this war, the answer is not America and the answer is not Iran. Even if Iran survives, the winner is China. China benefits regardless of whether America succeeds or fails. If America wins, it is financially weakened. If Iran survives, the petrodollar is undermined, the Belt and Road Initiative gains momentum, and the world shifts toward a multipolar order with China at its center. This is not luck, it is strategy. The ancient strategy of Sun Tzu, the greatest victory is to win without fighting, is being realized today. The most important geopolitical actor in this Iran war is not America, not Iran, and not Israel. It is China. Patient, disciplined, and strategically patient. China demonstrates the principle that history rewards those who allow others to exhaust themselves and then step into the vacuum. America fights, Iran survives, and China wins. Now, let's take a step back and think about the bigger picture. Wars are never just about bullets and bombs. They are about influence, perception, and positioning. Every action on the battlefield sends a signal to the rest of the world. And right now, while America is caught up in the immediate visceral struggle with Iran, China is playing the long game. The world is watching. Every ally and every rival is watching. The lesson they are learning is that brute force alone does not create security or prosperity. The lesson they are learning is that alliances built on fear and coercion are fragile. The lesson they are learning is that a rising power that invests in patience, planning, and economic integration can accumulate influence far more effectively than one that simply bombs its way toward dominance. Consider the ripple effects across the Middle East. Countries that were once firmly aligned with the United States are reconsidering their positions. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt, and even Pakistan are observing the conflict carefully. They see the costs of siding too closely with a power that cannot guarantee protection. At the same time, they see the benefits of deepening economic and strategic ties with China. Roads, railways, ports, and pipelines are more than just infrastructure. They are instruments of influence. They are commitments that bind nations together in mutual dependence and long-term planning. China is not asking for loyalty in exchange for bombs or military guarantees. China is asking for cooperation, trade, and connectivity, and that is a far more appealing proposition for nations seeking stability in an uncertain world. Now, let's think about energy and economics, because these are the silent battlegrounds of our era. Oil is no longer just fuel for engines, it is fuel for strategy. Cheap oil for China means lower production costs, which translates into more competitive manufacturing, which translates into global influence through trade. Every discount barrel China buys is a strategic investment. And every country that shifts to yuan-based oil contracts is reducing America's leverage in global finance while increasing China's. This is not hypothetical. It is happening in real time. Iran, despite being under immense pressure from sanctions, has found a way to strengthen its ties to China, generating revenue and ensuring its survival, all while America struggles to enforce its dominance. The irony is stark. America went to war to weaken Iran, and in the process, it has deepened China's economic foothold in the region. But it's not just about Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, or oil. It is about trust and credibility. Countries around the world are asking, who can we rely on? If America cannot protect Iran, a country that has been a central player in the global order, what hope do smaller nations have? If America's promises are conditional, inconsistent, and dependent on financial capacity and political will, then trust erodes. And when trust erodes, influence shifts. That is where China's approach shines. China's promise is predictable, tangible, and long-term. Build your infrastructure, trade with us, and we will honor our agreements. No bombs, no sanctions, no regime change. This creates a powerful alternative, and the world is noticing. Now, let's return to the historical lens, because history gives us clarity. The pattern we are seeing is repeated across millennia. Great powers often rise not by direct conquest, but by patience and observation. Macedon watched Athens and Sparta destroy each other and then seize dominance. America watched Britain and Germany exhaust themselves in World War I and emerged as the leading power. Today, China is playing the same role in a modern context. The stakes are global, the methods are economic and strategic, and the patience is deliberate. This is not luck. This is mastery of the principles of geopolitics. We also need to understand that this transition is accelerating. Every day the war continues, America's financial resources are drained, its credibility erodes, and its global reputation suffers. Every day, China remains unscathed, strengthening its infrastructure, investing in energy security, building relationships across Africa, Asia, and Latin America, and training the next generation of engineers, scientists, and leaders. While the world watches America expend trillions on conflict, China is quietly consolidating influence, building systems, and reshaping the rules of global power. And here's the most crucial insight. The true power of this strategy lies in invisibility. China does not need headlines. It does not need dramatic military victories. It does not need public fanfare. Its victories are structural, systemic, and nearly invisible. They accumulate quietly, like a river slowly carving a canyon. By the time the world fully registers the shift, China will already occupy the position of greatest strategic advantage. The war in Iran is merely the catalyst, the accelerant for a process that has been decades in the making. So when the question is asked again, who wins this war, the answer becomes undeniable. It is not America, it is not Iran, it is not Israel. It is China. The country that does not fire a single shot, the country that does not spend $1 trillion in bombing campaigns, the country that does not lose a single soldier. China wins through patience, foresight, and strategic positioning. America fights, Iran survives, and China emerges stronger, wealthier, and more influential. That is the lesson that is often missed in the noise of daily headlines. The loudest explosions are not the most consequential. The most consequential power is often the quietest. Finally, let us consider the future. As America struggles with internal divisions, political dysfunction, and overextension, China will continue to consolidate its position. The Belt and Road Initiative will expand, trade will increasingly settle in yuan, and global institutions will tilt toward China's influence. Countries seeking stability, investment, and opportunity will naturally align with the rising power that offers predictability over chaos, collaboration over coercion. This is not just a prediction. It is a structural inevitability if current trends continue. The Iran war is a lens through which the world can see the shift unfolding in real time. So, in conclusion, Let us remember this. Wars are not always won by those who fight hardest. Wars are often won by those who fight least but think most, those who are patient, disciplined, and strategically wise. In the current conflict between America and Iran, the real victor is already clear. It is the country that watches, that waits, that invests, and that positions itself for long-term dominance without the chaos of direct confrontation. That country is China. The lesson is simple but profound. Power is not always about force. True power is about foresight, patience, and strategic execution. And in this war, China is teaching the world precisely that lesson.